So, hello everyone. Very warm welcome to our joint event of Serbian product community and product map. We got to know Anna probably half a year ago, and we are happy that this event goes as planned, so as we agreed. My name is Margarita. I'm growth and community manager of Product Map. And probably let's start with a short introduction. A couple of words about our joint team. So probably Anna, can you make a short intro of Serbian product community?
Yeah, of course. So I see a couple of names that I recognize, but I also see a couple of names that I don't know. So for those that are with us for the first time, Serbian product community is a local community that exists for 7 years now. We are really kind of collected around the vision that Serbia needs to become the creative hub and not just the great engineering force, but to actually offer more than that and show off the skills that go beyond technical. And that's kind of what's been driving me to actually organize all the activities that we do. And we have our core events, of course, our meetup events that we have monthly. But we also have a biannual mentoring program that we use to support the individuals in developing their careers. We have a conference that is in September, Roadmaps Conference, and we do different kinds of initiatives like the one that I kind of explained just now, partnering with the different companies, different organizations, but all with the common goal, with the same purpose, and that is to talk about good practices in developing digital products and encouraging people, empowering them to actually be able to do that themselves.
Wow, cool. We are very happy to partner with you. Yeah. So probably a couple of words about Matvey. So Matvey is a co-founder and CEO of Product Map. That is an AI-powered learning platform with a comprehensive knowledge base of product management resources and tools. He is a product and design leader who launched Graphica community that is more than 50,000 followers on Instagram. Also, Matvey runs a design studio and previously led a portfolio of robotics products at Arrival. He co-founded the product management school with the JetBrains and Yandex, and teaches human and computer interactions at Constructor University.
So much about me, so sounds like a very important person. But I'm happy to join this event and make it finally before the Christmas. So it's last event for us, and we made a special thing where we will wrap up the year. We show what we gained in terms of numbers in the product map, and actually it gives some industry insights. So I'm happy to discuss it with the people on the call. So feel free to jump. Maybe Anna, you will share your thoughts, but we prepared some special stuff for the event today, and I'm glad that we've got a very specific community, like Serbian community, who also supports us. So that's the ultimate goal, I think.
Yeah, feel free also maybe to post questions in the chat, and we have time for questions and answers in the end of the session. So yeah, if you have anything, yeah, post it and we'll read it in the end.
So Anna, anything from you before I start sharing something what we know about product management skills? So maybe you want to share anything from your side, or I just start directly.
Yeah, I mean, I can share for a bit, but I think we should use this time for you to share, really, because we did this kind of wrap up. We actually have our biannual survey that we do about the kind of roles within product management, but also the salaries and responsibilities and that kind of thing. So we did the summary of 2022 and 2024 on our roadmap conference this year. And for anybody that's interested, it's available. The recording is available on our YouTube channel, so you can check it out. So yeah, I wouldn't take too much time off this. You just jump right in.
All right. So it will be very interesting to see how what I'll share today differs from your insights, because I think just before we start, before we'll share anything, the product management is definitely different in different countries, in different industry sectors. Even some companies, they understand the role completely differently. So previously, people been trying to prepare some structure to product management skills and competences. They try to formalize it and put some structure there, but everything is changing so fast. We've been working with different companies. They've got their own requirements, and I think that the understanding of product management is different. So what I'll show you today is the result of the job that we've done in the product map when we analyzed different requirements from big tech companies, smaller companies, not tech companies, just digital companies. And we put the structure of 15 product management skills with 5 high-level groups: product, customer, analytics, process, and people. And this structure helped us to keep very generic product management skills. Obviously, everyone can add more skills here, very specific ones. Again, it depends on the company requirements and some industry-specific needs. But let's take this 15 as an example. So strategic impact, business goals ownership, and product discovery. So they always been with us. In the customer area, we've got user experience, voice of customer, product marketing. Also, it's very relevant to some products, some of them maybe not very relevant. Analytics, so fluency with data, measuring progress and KPIs, stakeholder management somewhere in the middle of processes. And here we've got product vision and planning, backlog management, and software engineering. And the final thing, but last not the least, the people area. So we, as a product managers, we always work with people. So communication skills, leadership skills, and people development are on the chart as well. So I don't want to discuss these skills in the details, because I think the generic structure, the whole purpose of generic structure is to bring some structure, and after that use it as a reference point. So if you understand the overall idea of these skills, that it briefly covers the whole product management lifecycle. So you start with strategy, you define your business goals, you're trying to understand what is your product and what you're trying to build, what market you will reach. After that, you're specifying some solutions. So you think about user experience and how your interface will work. You think more about your customer and how you will market your product, and so on and so forth. So there is a guide. So this guide is published on our website. It's free to use. It was viral on social media when we launched that. But the overall idea of these skills we explained. So it's still debatable. Some skills could change because we launched it at the end of 2024. So we want to revise it. So that's why I don't want to spend a lot of time on the previous guide that we've created. But in general, all skills they are explained here. What's really valuable at the end of this guide, you will find additional frameworks that are available. So they have also been with us. The guide from Ravi Mehta for the product compass guide, and some company specific guides explaining the career ladder, product management skills requirements, and some competence matrix is. So there is a guide. We'll share the link in the chat, but things are changing so fast. And I think what we understood in the product map, that we've got 15 product management skills, but under each skill we've got some frameworks, theory, maybe some practices, some tasks, maybe some actions that we usually do. And we try to categorize different, let's say, knowledge elements or topics in this 15 product management skills structure. So if you take, for example, strategic impact, what usually contributes to this particular skill? So it's business models generation, market research, segmentation, go-to-market strategy, usage of AI, prompt engineering, agile thinking, scaling, and so on and so forth. So this overall idea helps us to bring some logic in a way how we can assess product management skills. And we did an assessment that basically tries to find your experience and what you know, what topics you know, maybe what you've been working on, and make you a detailed report that shows your skills. So it's free to use. Again, it's on our platform. But for this particular meeting, I want to show you what it is, just in case of understanding the data and insights that I'll share. So usually people share some experience about them. So it's CV, maybe it's LinkedIn profile, certifications, courses that they've completed. And we build our own model that basically uses this knowledge that I shared on the previous slide in order to find your gaps and make evaluation of your product management skills. So it takes like 15 seconds. Everyone can upload their own materials. And what you see is your skill chart. So it shows where you are, what gaps you've got, what key skills you've got. So maybe sometimes it's hallucinate if you share too much information. We find many topics and not many skill gaps, but it's worth trying. So, I mean, that's my profile. I believe that I'm a bit overrated here. But in comparison with a senior role, for example, I've got some gaps in the product marketing area and in the working with the data area. So that's definitely areas there I need to improve. The report itself is shareable, so people been sharing it in social media, and we've seen the discussion, and they've been improving and sharing feedback with us, which was very helpful. So that's how we build some numbers. And the whole point of this event is to share what we learned. We call it Product Management 2025 Wrapped. So we made more than 1,500 assessments, and it gives us some numbers. So usually people do surveys, they do maybe polls somewhere, but we actually have more data. We see the distribution of grades, skills, obviously with a small mark. It's our users, right? So they could come from different sources. They usually come from social media or organic sources or partners like communities with whom we are working together and collaborate. But in general, I think these numbers are quite good to start analyzing them, at least see some patterns. And the first distribution that we want to share today is that the product management grades are evenly distributed almost. But we see that in this particular year, the C-level roles or director roles, so higher roles, are going down. So, I mean, usually we see that the chart is progressing further, so many people are entering middle or senior roles, or even more senior roles like director or C-level. But this year we've seen that less and less people are starting share that they've got such a high grade. I mean, the demand is changing. So, I mean, usually people being trying to reach the higher positions and job titles. But for now, many companies, they are changing the way how their product structure looks like. So, meaning that some companies, they get rid of the high level C-level positions. And also what we've seen in this particular year that in terms of the overall product management industry and the way how people understand product management, there are many people who are joining with no PM title. So they could be a marketer or salesperson or designer or maybe a team lead or scrum master or product owner who play as a product manager in like they play product management role or product role, but they don't have product management title in their company, or it could be a startup. So our numbers show that in general it's 18% of people, and if we analyze them, 35 of them just a team member, right, who just participates in the product related tasks. 32 of them are founders and CEOs. It could be a small startup, early stage startup, or a bigger startup where companies started to think more about products that they're building. And as soon as they achieve some product market fit, they are trying to revise their product and also understand better some processes that they need to set up in order to maintain the good product culture. And career switches. So previously we didn't have these statistics, so we haven't seen many people who just entering the product management, and we didn't know what is the percentage. But this particular year, we see that people trying to enter the product management, and that's also shows that the demand in this let's say in this industry or in this role is still exists. But what's happening in terms of the data? So what we've been using as a data source. So we made, as I said, 1.5 or even more assessments, and 73% of them, they've been done with AI. So obviously it gives more insights than just self-assessment where users do it by themselves. And this data it's reliable. So obviously sometimes our model is not very confident for results, but also it shows that there is no bias here in the data, so it was done automatically. And the next chart will be about skills distribution. So when we analyzed all these reports, we tried to understand where users got more skills or less. So if we take our 15 product management skills and 5 high-level groups, then we see the strong dominance of analytical skills. And in terms of the overall distribution, so skill number 2 is stakeholder management. And in the middle, we've got fluency with data and measuring progress and KPIs in the middle, like in the lower part. But overall, I would say that the distribution is even, and we've seen that some companies, some users, they've got a strong experience in people area or in the product area or in the customer area. So if we take the average, then we just receive the average product manager, so which was not very insightful. But what is insightful and what was very unusual to me, that some skills, they've got a less score, meaning that like the users who've been passing the assessment, they've got the gap in this particular skill. And from my point of view, I agree with them because it's also my personal lack. So the product marketing and some skills that are usually more relevant for high positions or higher positions like people development and strategic impact. the scores are lower. So, and I don't believe that there is something wrong in the data that we analyzed. I believe that this skill should be developed if you're growing, and it's a normal, absolutely normal picture when we see that such very high and I would say complex skills have lower scores. But yeah, if you see the overall distribution, what's also insightful that the communicational skill is also very important for product manager, and it should be your top skill. But at the same time, yeah, the team leadership also in the top 10. So that's one of the insights that I found personally very interesting. When people complete the reports, they see some industry rank. So sometimes my personal report shows that I'm in top 30. But what does it mean? I mean, everyone can share their report, and we show the distribution, which looks like a normal distribution. But on this particular event, we decided to show the raw data, which is under the hood of the product map. So first of all, we visualize all reports in terms of the overall score. So lower scores starting from 15, where you've got each skill on the score 1. It shows that you've got a very basic understanding of the skill. And that's actually the minimum value that was even assessed all over this year. But if you see that, let's take somewhere in the middle, like 45, so that will be the end of the third group. So we see that almost 69 or 68% of reports are higher at this particular point. So basic understanding of the product management is the 32%, right? So people in general understand the product management skills. Obviously, they should have some areas where they've got more, some areas where they've got less. But after 45, we see the growing the curve. And 63 score or 66 score, it's your total score across all 15 product management skills. It's the highest rank, which usually is similar to what middle or middle plus or senior product managers achieve. And that's why it's when it drops dramatically at the end, we see that less and less people have more higher, just bigger job titles and grades. But in general, I see that when people receive some reports, we want to understand better how they fit the overall industry, and I think this chart visualizes really well where the most part of the product managers are. So they somewhere here around 60s and 70s. And there is one additional stat that we decided to share, because I said that at the beginning that we've got topics as a main element of the system that helps us to understand the level of your skills. So if you've got some topics and skills completed, then you receive the final score based on that. And we're also analyzing what topics are top trending. And you will be not surprised that top one topic is prompt engineering, which covers AI. So it's our most viewed topic on the platform. On the second place, we've got product roadmaps, product operations. In the third one, I believe it's because of the overall misunderstanding of this let's say role, or people what they actually do. So maybe it's just because of the interest, and from other let's say other topics that being also very actively viewed on the platform: product metrics and prioritization. What's about the rest? So, I mean, we've got many other topics, more than 60 topics on the platform. We try to structure them and sort them by the relevance and by engagement. What we've seen people exploring more on the platform or less. So it's everything which is at the bottom, it's at the end of top 10. And I obviously removed this top 5, which we decided to move out from the overall metrics. But if you take, let's say, top trending topics from each particular section, then you can understand what usually people are engaging with. So if you take people area, right, so then leadership and team leadership is the most important topic. So that's what usually people explore more. And if you take, the analytics analysis area, so marketing metrics for some reason became top 1 in this particular area. So I'll share these stats with you. So we will also publish the report at the end of this year. So next week it's coming. We'll share with all participants. But I think if you just think a little bit about what you see here, it gives some overall trends. So obviously, it's just the subset of users, 1.5 K users who's got an access and assessment and profiles on our platform. But we always see that it shows the overall trend. So I've been surprised that some areas which are closer to growth hacking and digital marketing, they are not so top trending, and it's maybe because of the smaller industry and maybe technical product managers or other product managers, they are just bigger in terms of numbers. And that's why when you compare different topics, you see that people starting to engage more and more with topics related to software. So, I mean, I've been surprised to see some topics like front end and back end on the same level as digital marketing, right? But maybe it's because of the overall change in the industry. So that's all what we decided to come up with some ideas or results. Obviously, we've seen that different PMs, they act differently. So if you take startup PM, then they are wearing too many hats. And if you just segment your users and you'll try to understand what will be the overall startup PM skill chart, it will be absolutely different to what you see in enterprises. So the overall understanding is that an overall trend that market is changing to the smaller teams, which will be able to perform with smaller resources and achieve different results. But it's mostly the question to the audience and to everyone how we understand that and what is your understanding how the market changes. So the results that we summarized, it's just 6 main areas where the overall understanding of the product manager in the enterprise and in a small company or startup and how they compare to each other. So if you take the startup PM, they handle the whole product management cycle. So they're wearing too many hats. So sometimes they even code by themselves. So maybe don't ship code to production. So that's a debatable thing. But in terms of the ownership of the process, it's the end-to-end process. But in enterprises, PMs still split some responsibilities because the way how the overall org structure or departments work with each other, it's more about cross-functional collaboration. But in the startups, PMs just wearing too many hats. And same about speed and ownership, right? So some startup ships, if you work in a startup, you usually ship weekly or maybe even quicker because you own the whole product and you will be able to experiment quicker. Enterprise is changing, obviously. Yeah, sometimes they reorganizing. They trying to split the company on the sub products, but still there are some layers and approvals. But the overall change is that startup PMs just moving faster, and it's the overall understanding how products now being developed. The first thing, it's slightly influenced by AI, but still the overall trend is to achieve better quality with a fewer resources. And that's why everyone tries to reduce cost in different directions. And optimizations are happening in order to just spend less time or less resources on some practical tasks. And yeah, obviously, it's still applicable for many other companies, but the overall trend is here to be more creative with a few resources. Focus on metrics. It was always with us, but we've seen that right now. Sometimes product managers, they become more responsible for financial parameters, and sometimes their own KPIs being linked with the company KPIs. And that's it's a normal thing. It's a normal business thinking, and people changing the way how they work with metrics. And sometimes even the definition of the strategy and which metrics to track is highly linked with a product manager role and what they're doing in a company. So the number 5 is risk tolerance. So obviously, if you work in a startup, you've got bigger risks. You need to find your traction, and the enterprises, they've got some stability and predictability, but a lot of things are also changing. But that's overall market trend that everybody is so stressed with the new tools, new information. And that's something that people been mentioning many times, so we keep it as a number 5. And number 6, decision making. So the overall decision making process is getting faster, so it's highly linked with the speed and ownership topic. So people trying to achieve results quicker with less hierarchy, and that's why sometimes the stakeholder management skill is getting less important, but at the same time, it's still very important to align with your team members and other departments in order to keep things rolling. So we tried to visualize this change, and we didn't like how it looks like, because it just looks like your responsibilities are growing and there is no single pattern here. So that was a result that we didn't like, but we tried to make some assumptions what it could mean and what actually is changing. So that's why we tried to list areas where the skill shift is going. But I mean, obviously you can add your view, so feel free to leave it in the chat or in the Q&A session. We can discuss that. But as I already said, end-to-end ownership and product managers wearing maybe too many hats, that's what we've seen more and more. So people just vibe coding applications. After that, they launching it to the market. They run marketing campaigns. After that, they add some analytics. They track metrics, and that's what the one product manager does. So the skill set is just covering the whole product life cycle. And what we've seen with the rise of AI and automation tools, the data fluency skills are getting more and more importance. I mean, now you can access the data easily, so you even don't need to be, let's say, a very professional engineer in order to access this data. You can just play around with and build dashboards without technical knowledge. But experimenting with data, analyzing this data, and overall data fluency skill is growing. So now you can build dashboards, and even some numbers that we built and showing today, they've been just using the raw data that was available. So, and actually, what we've seen that people are analyzing data more than just working with the initial raw data. So, customer discovery, so it was always with us, but now the overall process is shortened, so it's getting shorter. So the cycles are getting shorter, and the delivery cycle is getting shorter. So even building prototypes and your hypothesis validation cycles, they're also getting shorter. And that's something that is changing the way how we made previously research, how we made the customer development. Then now the overall process is just quicker. So that was our first impression when we saw that in some areas we see the growing demand. Growth mindset, that was a big change in the voice of customer area and product marketing. So now product managers, if they work in the company which is customer facing, then they also covering some topics which like never been explored a lot in the product management. So pricing topic is going up, the positioning topic is going higher, and that's why we see that this area will grow because people getting more understanding how to build products. The next step is to how to make it scalable and how to scale in general. So design collaboration, that surprisingly impacted the way how we interact with designers. So this year, a lot of tools, they've been introduced to the market in order to speed up design process and automate the collaboration between product managers and designers, and also the handoff process to engineering. So that's and some solutions that appear right now, they're using a code from the library which was developed long time ago. Using this design system, you can prototype new tools and even you can test your hypothesis without designers. So designers can be your partner in this process, but sometimes people do things without designers. It doesn't mean that they losing their jobs. It means that sometimes they change the way how previously they've been working with product managers, and sometimes some things they even done without designer at all. And final thing is AI know-how. So we made so many events, materials about how to use AI. We AI startup, we use AI a lot in order to build our product. But in general, a lot of areas could be automated, or at least the final quality could be achieved quicker. So you as a product manager, in my general advice, you should try different things and apply them for some cases where you see you spend more time or more resources, or maybe you need to achieve better results, or just quicker, achieve results quicker. That's something that's worth exploring. The general advice: try different tools, and sometimes the ways how tools are designed is different to how we use them. So we've seen many tools that been introduced to the market, but people start to use them differently because it helped them to achieve some different goals. What my overall suggestion to everyone before the Christmas or the end of this year: set yourself a goal where you want to grow. So if you take your own assessment, you can make a self-assessment. Try to visualize where you are. I mean, you can easily set yourself some boundaries. You even don't need the AI assessment in order to do that. So if you will draw your chart based on the template that I put on this slide, then you will see that at some point of time you've got some skills that maybe need to be improved. So let's draw this picture, for example. So your next step is to draw the picture where you want to be. So if you feel that you need to improve your software engineering skill in order to build prototypes quicker because it will help to achieve your results, then put it as a goal for yourself. And if you see that, I don't know, for some reason, the market is changing and now fluency with data is no longer optional, set yourself a goal to improve this skill and close this gap, and find some topics that could help you, or some materials or resources or courses that will help you to grow this particular skill. And visualizing the final goal helps you to keep the track of it. So usually when you see that, I don't know, for some reason you need to improve your strategic impact skill, it gives you some visuals, and you will use it as a reference in order to see are you growing or not. So use this template in order to analyze where you are in this year and plan your next year grow. But I hope that some data that we shared with you today, they've been helpful or insightful. I'm happy to discuss it. So because I don't believe that it's written in the stone, and it's something that is like the only one truth. But we shared it today just because we want to hear your thoughts, and I think we could continue with some Q&A session, or just have an open questions from the audience. Feel free to ask anything. I hope that it was interesting, at least to see what we prepared. So Anna, what are your thoughts?
No, definitely interesting. And, a couple of things that I would actually expect, like the raise in AI interest and prompt engineering. And I mean, it's a hot topic, right? Everybody's kind of getting into that one way or another, vibe coding as well. So, yeah, we see all those trends. But I think at this moment, just the sheer volume of interest in that is just that, pure trend. I don't think that the interest will go down, but it will definitely settle in a lesser way, than it is at the moment.
100%.
And then, maybe kind of the interesting part for me was the level of the analytics, because we do see that, and the increase is coming, I think, due to the AI trend, because now it's not just that you have different tools, like, I don't know, amplitude, mixed panel, that kind of thing, that where you can see your product analytics without actually going into the database. So you can do your dashboards inquiries in a more user-friendly way, even if you're not, you don't necessarily know SQL. But the thing is, it's not just seeing the data, it's now you can take that data and put it into AI and, analyze it in so many different ways, and, kind of create different documents out of it, create, summaries for some things, it kind of find within that the proof of your idea, right? So
I
that
agree with you completely. Yeah.
it allows you to to take it into your for your advantage. Well, up to now we were just able to view the data and not necessarily have the wide span of what we can do with it now. So yeah, that part is kind of expected. But what wasn't was the interest or the level of team leadership.
Oof. Yeah.
And that kind of raises a question for me: what team are we talking about?
Oof.
And what kind of leadership are we talking about there? Because I doubt that everybody that was interested in team leadership is leading a product team in terms of team of product people, right? Product managers, product owners, that kind of thing. I doubt that. So is that really about leading a development team?
No way. So in general, I think this topic was for indirect and direct leadership. So let's take as an example some structures where product managers, they're responsible for some resources like engineering resources, marketing resources, analytics, whatever. So some product managers who act as a small CEOs, right? So we've seen that some companies, they try to create products very independent, and it's a good let's say agile way how you can establish very efficient team which can deliver everything inside. So and product manager could be a direct leader or indirect leader. So they could have some direct reports, or they just lead the team with their product strategy, product vision. They share the goals with the team, and they bring some coordination in the team in order. And actually, this leadership, there are many types of leadership, but in general, you just lead the team and you help them to achieve the results that you need in terms of product. In terms of the engineering leadership, that we never specified some specific areas for like leading this particular team or that particular team, but some people been joining with a different background. So as I said, 80% they are non-PMs. So maybe they are early stage startup founders, and they are leading the company, right? Or maybe it's a career switcher from the different role. Maybe they are design leaders. In general, I think the overall team leadership skill, I would say, let's remove the word team. Let's keep just leadership. And this skill, like this topic and skill, is very important for product managers. And it was, somewhere in the middle. So I also been surprised on that. So maybe just because different industries, different structures, they've got different responsibilities in terms of leadership. But what's your view on that? So what do you believe should be the best, position of this skill in terms of priorities?
Yeah, no, I think it should be high. I never saw it in real life, so to speak, you know. I never saw it that it's really that dominant with people. But it should be high because the whole idea is that you're leading without authority, right? So you need a lot of diverse skills to be able to actually do that. Leadership being one of them, influencing people, negotiating, delegation, motivating, that kind of thing. So leadership is definitely there. It's just I'm questioning whether that's true or not.
All right, we will check that.
I don't doubt your data. I'm just kind of taken by surprise by that. Yeah.
There are many soft skills that we can put in this area. So I believe that people can extend this generic model at their own skills. It's not written in stone. So everybody can add many other things to the list. So as you said, influencing people and negotiating.
And what's interesting there for me is now that you're mentioning kind of putting different skills on the list. So those are, especially the soft skills. The hard skills, let's say that we would mostly agree on what each of the skills kind of what is that kind of what do you have to have in terms of the knowledge and experience to say, yeah, check, I have that skill. But in terms of soft skills, those are very, I don't know, let's say flexible in terminology.
Broad, and abstract sometimes.
Yeah, very abstract, and people have very different ways of interpreting the same terms, the same terminology, right? So that I'm kind of questioning, and I always avoid putting soft skills in any type of survey, to be honest, just because of that.
Because it's hard to measure.
And it's not just hard to measure, it's the understanding of those terms. It's different with different people. I mean, we can more or less, everybody would agree when we say product backlog management, we will find a lot of similarities what people think that is, right? There's some kind of backlog, whether you're using Jira or any other tool. There, different items. How do you prioritize them? How do you define the scope for them? How do you estimate them, plan them? That kind of thing. More or less, we will find the common language there.
Yeah.
But when I say leadership, I bet that just you and I, will have different views on what that actually is and how you will recognize that somebody has leadership skills or not.
Exactly.
So when you ask different people to assess themselves, you have so much bias there. First bias is, do we align on what that means?
Mm-hmm.
And then second bias is very subjectively, I'm assessing myself whether or not I have this. And so it's like layers and layers of bias.
100%. And the self-assessment, that's actually what I also questioning. So I surprised that people, we've got the date of the self-assessment, but it's something that your personal opinion, right? So it's better system assess you, and I agree with you. The materials on different soft skills, they even not aligned with each other. So it's me and you and the rest of the people who are on the call can understand things differently. But even some materials, books, or I don't know, resources, courses, they teach it differently. So even
exactly.
what will be the source of truth, right? So
exactly.
that's
So those are the kind of things I find hard to compare. So what we do in our survey, when we're kind of collecting the information, we don't do, by the way, the level of knowledge on people, but we do the analysis of the responsibilities within the role in your organization. So it's more focused around the expectations of the organization from your role, right? So there, I'm not including any soft skills. So I'm just listing out really things that are hard skills for product managers, right? That we mostly would agree on, so that they are comparable, so that when they are ticking those boxes, I can actually hang on to that and kind of consider that the data that they're sharing is reliable or mostly reliable, right? So that when we're comparing, but because that's the idea, and you show that as well. So different organizations consider completely different things under product management roles. So what we are trying to understand is where we are as a market, because when you start to kind of think about it, not just on the individual level of a person, or the company, but rather on a bit wider than that, on the level of market, you actually start to understand the maturity of the market, of the role on that market. So I can tell you that for us, for instance, we're still very much in the early stages of maturity of product management. What that means is usually what happens is the people start taking on a bit more of a role that's between project manager and product manager, right? So they have the responsibilities like backlog, product backlog management, estimations, planning, that kind of operational setting of things with the team and working on a daily level with the team. And then from that, they start growing into defining the requirements, splitting the scope, right? And these are all hard skills. When I'm saying this, you know exactly what I mean. Yeah. And then they start transferring more into understanding the users and behavior of users. And then they kind of go more into the needs for the company and the
Yes.
goal, understanding the goals,
I think I can
how
even
does
draw
this
it.
contribute to the goals and that kind of thing. And then the market and the competitors. And so that's kind of the progression of growth
Yeah.
for these roles, what we've seen
Yeah.
from, kind of from over time. So in that sense, comparing to the responsibilities across different companies, what people have of responsibilities in those organizations, when you combine that onto the whole market, you start to see you start to map out the growth of the market. So we are in very, very early stages. So first survey that we did in 2022, it was all about the operations with the team.
Yeah.
All about that. Very low percentage of people that were kind of in those other areas. And we are slowly, within now results for 2024, we're now slowly seeing the shift. That the percentage is a bit higher going into the understanding of users, connecting that to the business goals of the company, that kind of thing. We're seeing that it's happening, but still over 50% is on that operational level with the team. So
Why do you think it's happening? Because people transitioning to product management from project managers, so they're not transitioning from sales or marketers or someone who has broader skill set in the right part of
No. It has nothing to do with individuals. It has everything to do with the companies. So the companies are opening positions that they feel that they need. And since I'm now purely talking about Serbia because I don't know enough about other markets, but since Serbia is really still predominantly outsourcing market, so that means that we're providing services of software development, product development to the clients, right? So the engineers are very accustomed to being told what to do. And having everything chewed down to very specific tasks.
I understand.
Because the time of the engineer is what is most valuable within that kind of business model, right? You're charging by the hour of developers. So everything else is either expense or it's included in the overhead of the entire project. So it doesn't matter if you hire a person that's gonna chew down on the requirements for the developers and just serve them in small bites.
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
So,
I've been working in the outsource long time ago. I understand how in principle it
so
works.
in that setup, when you take now the engineers that are used to work like that and you put them in the environment where we're developing now a product that is in-house for us, it's our whole business and everything else, you want them to be comfortable. You want them to move as fast as they can because you want to utilize the power you have within your teams. So what you do is you provide them with any environment that they need to perform at their best. And since they are used to that kind of setup, you provide them with a setup that they are used to, right?
Sure.
And that has value for the company, even if they're developing their own product, because there's somebody taking care of that. The highest paid people have always something to do, and it's the most valuable thing at the moment, so that you're actually getting your money's worth. So they start, and everybody understands those roles. Everybody knows what project manager
They
does.
were very well defined. Yeah.
Yeah,
So they're
and
making
they
a
know the
decision.
value of that.
Yeah.
You know, both the engineers and the organization, they know the value of that. So that's kind of the most common place to start. If we're adding anything that is going to make life easier and make engineers move quickly as a team, we're adding that. But as the company grows, as the product grows, and the organization matures, that the needs of the team start to evolve, right?
Exactly.
And therefore, the role that is serving the team needs to start evolving. So they start hiring for what they call product manager, but in those early stages, they're actually just managing delivery. Nobody's doing any part of product discovery. They're not taking into consideration that. And that's usually how the startup scale as well, right? You start adding engineers, and at some point you need somebody that's going to manage the work of those engineers so you know where you're at. I have no idea. Like, I have 50 people here. I have no idea who's working on what and what's coming next, right? What are they working? What's going to be finished? When is going to be? I have no idea, right? So that's kind of the logical progression, and it has nothing to do where the people are coming from on those positions. They're coming from different sides, by the way. It's just how the organizations and the maturity of the organization progresses. That's what defines the progression of the role, not the people.
Exactly.
The people will progress in any way that you set the path for them, purely because they want to develop themselves and they want to be successful in what they do. So you need to show them what success means within a different organization. So the organization is actually setting up the expectation from that role. So whatever that is, people will follow. That's at least how I see it.
100% agree. And yeah, when we've been working with different organizations, they've been setting up their own radars, right? So they've been adding more and more skills. What could be more applicable for them? So, for example, one of the skill was finance, understanding of finances, because it was a fintech startup. So obviously you need this expertise in order
Domain
to
expertise, yeah.
in order to contribute. And some people who've been working in these products, will be more successful in such product because they've got some understanding of the industry, right? How things working. So I 100% agree with you that the skill set is evolving based on the product maturity and life cycle. So, but now what we've seen with engaging with different companies, that sometimes people complete this discovery process faster than they are hiring engineers. So they're trying to reach the market even before they hired the first developer. So they're trying to sell first things that looks like a prototype, maybe white coded application, whatever, lovable application. And after that, they validate their hypothesis earlier. So there is a growing demand of product and customer skills, but also the life cycle slightly changed. So people like early stage products, they are launching fast, they're receiving the feedback from the market quicker, and that's why sometimes you even don't have many engineers to manage, or I don't know, coordinate.
Yeah, but I don't think that's new, to be honest.
Just
It's just that we are using
growing.
different tools for that.
Yes,
You know,
100%. Yeah, it's quicker.
before AI,
it's
we
cheaper.
used like, fake doors, concierge tests,
MVP, yeah.
those kinds of things to actually validate your products. So, or rather the product idea in this sense, and maybe even to validate your business model, kind of what type of pricing do you put, what are you charging for, maybe even your tiers of offers, that kind of thing. So we did that already. I mean, we were, the whole idea is that you start your sales and your customer development before you actually have a product. And if you start looking at any type of program for startups, kind of startup incubators and that kind of thing, that's the first thing that they tell you. You
Exactly.
You start by creating channels of communication with your customers, and you use those channels, whether it's for marketing or sales, they evolve into those channels. So you actually start your sales process before you have anything to show in terms of the final product. The difference is today that we have now AI as tools that can get us closer to what the look and feel and the behavior of the actual product will be. So we can use that. But even before AI, we transitioned into clickable prototypes, right?
Yeah,
we were using different tools for that, whether it's Adobe, now Figma, we were using surrogates for what the product will be to actually test and validate the idea. Now we just have better tools for that.
Exactly.
That are offering more. So I don't think there's anything new, really. The skills just need to evolve together with the tools, and that's it. But if you don't know how the basic process of product development goes, no tool will help you.
100% agree. Yeah, I believe all these concepts they've been with us like for many many years. I mean, everything what we're discussing now, it was written in the books like Lean Startup or the overall design process from Google, the design sprint from Google.
Exactly.
Still, it was with us, right? So I just see that with cheaper product launches and quicker product launches, we see that like in this year, Lovable really launched 3.5 million applications. How many of them became a product? So that's the next question, right? So people.
But that would be interesting to hear, to be honest.
Exactly. So
and how many of them actually exited from Lovable and took ownership over their own code? Exactly. I would love to know that. I would love to know, because that's the key. You can take it so far with vibe coding, but up to a point, and my question is, where is that point? But up to a point, there's just too much complexity going in to handle it through vibe coding. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you start scaling, as soon as it's more than one team, let's say that it can handle more than one person, right? But as soon as you have 2-3 teams, what does that look like? I'm betting that vibe coding is not really great for collaboration of the teams and kind of connecting the dots on joint efforts of multiple teams. That's kind of my gut guess, but I would really love to see some numbers and conclusions from Lovable or any other vibe coding tool for that.
We'll see. All right, so any questions from the chat? So we've got so great conversation. If somebody wants to ask anything, feel free to jump in. So I think we shared some general trends. I mean, our own vision, how things are changing. We prepared some numbers for today. If someone wants to ask any questions, feel free to ask. That's the best time. Margot, I think you prepared some questions from your side, so maybe you want...
Yeah, I don't see any questions at the moment in the chat, but I've got a couple that maybe will be interesting as well for the audience. So we talked a lot today about current trends in product management skills, but what's a good way to keep up with new trends and skills? So how can you track the appearance and evolving of some?
I mean,
what's your advice?
I don't know what's a good way. I can share my way. I don't know if that's good for everybody,
Yes, please.
Yeah. For me, it's really kind of being aware of what's happening in the market, and when I say market, I mean globally. Because AI is not something that was done as a surprise,
Mhm.
We knew that it was coming. I mean, we had different products and projects coming from machine learning, then evolving into AI. There were different tools before ChatGPT, that were using AI. So it's not like, oh my God, this happened overnight, right?
Yeah.
If you're really tracking the market, you are aware of this from, I don't know, 20, let's say 12, and going forward, right? And it's been evolving. The main difference is that now it's available to a wider audience, and it's more user friendly in terms that you don't necessarily need to have technical skills to use it. That's the main difference. So if you are a product manager, you should have known that this is evolving and that at some point it will be available to wider audience. So once it became available, you should be kind of jumping right on it, because it's not going away. It's just been kind of growing and growing, and it's going to keep growing. And you should start getting to know things and how they work. First, as product manager, one of the main traits that you should have as a person is curiosity.
Yes.
So if you're not curious person, if you're not early adopter of things, you shouldn't be doing this job. You will be miserable, because that's the whole point. You are the one that's curious. You are the one that's wondering. You are the one that's discovering. You are the one that's, researching different things. So if you're not that person, you're in the wrong place, right? So just by something being available now, your curiosity needs to kick in. And you need to say, not you shouldn't be saying, oh my God, it's going to take my job. Get away from me. You should be saying, oh my God, what's this? How can I use it? So that with that attitude, first you start experimenting, because as a product person, that's what you do. That should be your gut instinct. Start experimenting, then start learning, reading, researching, because that's the second thing you should do as a product person anyway. And once you have gathered more knowledge, evolve your experiments, expand them, make them bigger, make them with more impact, make them more meaningful, make them bring more value to you, to others, to the surrounding, to whatever, and start integrating. So you have done your experiments strictly with ChatGPT, but now, oh my God, there's vibe coding. Oh my God, now there's AI in Figma. Oh my God, now there's AI in Mixpanel and Amplitude, and so on and so on. So you now start expanding, start integrating, start seeing how things can flow from one tool to another. Start seeing how you can benefit from that, how your product can benefit from that, how your teams can benefit from that. And that's kind of how you learn and how you onboard onto trends. But without the predisposition that you should already have as a person in this role, and that's curiosity, experimentation, constant learning and research, and thinking about micro and macro, right? And integrating both views, and thinking about benefits for yourself, for your business, for your team, for the product, for, different perspectives. If you don't have that, I mean, there's no trend that's going to save you. There's no tool that's going to save you. That's kind of what I've been saying. If you don't know how to do this job, there's absolutely nothing there's no automation of any kind, no AI that's gonna solve that for you. That we had this kind of discussion on one of the conferences I was in this autumn. The tools that use AI can only answer what you're asking them. So if you don't know
now,
what
yes.
you need from them, they cannot help you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's true,
Maybe
100%.
just give a couple of years and things will change. But yes,
Maybe we'll get there, but at this very moment, they
you're right.
cannot.
Yes.
You need to
You
know
said it all.
what you have to have, right? What is your job? What is your process? What do you need in order to do this job? You need to know that. If you don't know your job, there's no tool on this God-given earth that's going to help you with that. So that's kind of how at least I approach it through almost anything. So it's not AI exclusive.
But in terms of tracking trends, I will agree with you that trying things is more important than reading product updates or news. Just because if you've got a feeling that it could be helpful, just give it a try, and immediately you will see that it works for you, it doesn't work for you. So being an adapter of early features as soon as they've been delivered. I personally, you said about Figma AI. I installed Figma beta in order to test it even before it was launched, just to see where the market is going and where it is trend. So sometimes you can get an access through the community or through the specific newsletter and see what others are doing. But at the same time, I believe it's very important to keep contact with different products, as you said about the market. So just see the real use cases, see what other teams are doing and how they're doing it. Share your experience and listen to others because we all using that. So I mean, AI is done in order to empower people. Let's say like that, right? So we've got a positive mission, very bright one. But it's all people do things differently. So for example, my personal insight was how people do user research right now with the AI. So what they automate, so what do they analyze, so what data could be collected automatically, where AI can help to process some information. So this experience is coming from other people and how they use that. So keeping an eye on different products and their processes also keeps you in the loop of the latest trends. Because if it's a successful company, if they've got very good product culture, then I believe they're using something that maybe can be reused in your team, in your next job or whatever. So I believe that still very important part, which is we should be on this table as well, is just to share the experience inside the community, inside your like between different teams, exchange experiences also very important.
Yeah, of course, I agree. I mean, that's kind of what we do, right?
Exactly. So just to remind everyone that systems is not the only one thing in the world. So we are people and we work with people, and communities exist in order to share the experience with other members. Okay.
Oh, yeah, sounds really cool. I've got probably another related question here. So, what's one simple habit that helps PMs to be more effective today?
I need some time to think. Juliana, you will start first.
To be more effective.
Habit.
I mean, oh my God, is there a harder question than that? I mean, we're just saying what is the wide range of things that people on product management positions do, right? And with all the automation and all the tools that we just mentioned, even with all that, there is just one part that is heavy, was always heavy, and I think it's going to stay heavy. And that's communication. Because what we do, I mean, that's kind of our whole position is in the large part, a facilitator of the process, right? We're that hub that collects and shares information with the organization. We collect information from different parts, we synthesize them, and then we share them with the organization. So the amount of communication and the exponential growth of the communication that happens when the organization starts to scale, that is something that it's just insane. And that is always the hardest part, because it goes directly people to people. And that is always the biggest job, because it's always there. I mean, you cannot stop it. You cannot change it with anything else, because what you're doing, you're talking to people, gathering what they're telling you, and you're then making sense of that and sharing that with other people, probably, again, by talking to them. So if there's one thing that we could do about that part, we would be so much more efficient. I don't have the solution, by the way, but that is the one thing that we're not tackling, and that has nothing to do with the tools. That's really about the organizations, the setup of the organizations, the expectations of the roles, the communication and culture within the organization, those kinds of aspects. And that is all human-centered. And it is by far the biggest time eater of all.
It's
And that's-
communication. It's top one skill based on the report that we shared
Oh yeah,
today.
indeed.
100%. I think also what is important, that so much information should be shared across teams. So it's not only about how we communicate, but also the sharing information. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
spreading it across different stakeholders, keeping them all aligned. And I believe that we can suggest some practical habits, right? So what helped me personally is to keep everything in a structured format. So even if it's a meeting, then you get a transcription with a recording. You can analyze, you can send a follow-up based on that. Even if you need a scheme, or I don't know, you're drawing a diagram or customer journey map, you can structure it in LLM friendly format, which also will be processed by machine. So previously I've been drawing beautiful boards, pictures, whatever, that being very nice and presentable, but it was very hard to analyze in terms of data and even get some insights from them. Now, if you do the same with in LLM friendly format, so it could be markdown, it could be just a simple text. It should be, for example, Figma allows to export data from it based on MCP, right? I don't know. You know about that? You don't know? Who knows? We tried. We've been using a lot the integration that exists, and it helps to pull the data out of the system, and after that you can process it. But what helps, I don't believe that we need to become more efficient. So that's not an ultimate goal, right? So
Yeah.
it's not only about efficiency, but if you want to speed up things, then keeping everything organized, knowledge stored somewhere in a good format will help. So avoid heavy documents, heavy spreadsheets, or some images that being, I don't know, just screenshotted from some place. It's better to keep things that could be parsed by an algorithm or LLM, and it will help you to automate or use this data further. So that's just my suggestion.
Okay, thank you very much for very insightful answers. Well, a lot of my prepared questions were answered today in the process of the presentation, but I think that, yeah, What are the biggest skill gaps you see in PMs today, in junior and in mid-level ones?
I don't.
Yeah, I can tell you what I know, and this is not from me personally. It really came from several organizations that we collaborate with as a community. So their leaders, mostly, I'm now thinking as I'm talking, so forgive me. Most of them are actually not from Serbia. So the head of product is usually coming from other location, whether it's US. I spoke with a couple of them from Netherlands, from Germany, but the product managers are from Serbia. And what they see as kind of what we're lacking here is the understanding of business. So we're great in engineers. We have great backgrounds. We understand technical design. We understand technical requirements. We understand functional requirements. Even the UX design is quite on a right level. But what we're lacking is understanding and having the kind of basic business knowledge. So what I mean there is understanding about the different business models, understanding about pricing, understanding what makes something more relevant for the business goal or less relevant for a business goal, how things are contributing to the company, how things are connected in terms of business, being able to actually do financial projections of any kind, whether it's about the costs and expenses or it's about the potential of revenue and things like that. So that is something that we're sorely lacking here, and very few people actually have some knowledge on that. And we just had recently, like a couple of months ago, we had a meetup where Victoria Kurzhova from Product People came, and she spoke about the basic understanding of business financials for product managers. And it was kind of, I don't know, it was both enlightening and surprising. I mean, she spoke on a very basic level. Like, I don't know if you heard her talk about that. It's a talk she's doing this year. So I'm sure there are recordings of it online. So it's really basic. Like, what are the expenses? What is the revenue? There you go. That's a profit, right? You know, that kind of really, really basic. And she takes that through a simple example, which is great, because what I've learned is that audience didn't know that. But also what was surprising to me is that audience didn't know that. And I'm like, if you don't know this, how can you handle anything bigger and harder than that, right? And it kind of hits me, it hit me, all the conversation that I had with those leaders, you know, and kind of their expectations, and we were falling short. Everything came to light, right? And I was like, oh my God, yeah, that's it. They're right, right? So yeah, that's kind of what I've learned throughout this year. It wasn't that unexpected, but it was surprising to see the level of lack of knowledge for that.
That's interesting. I think it's such a powerful insight, because if you can master your business knowledge, so you will be ahead of the competition. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Matvey, do you have anything to add here?
Similar thing, but from the slightly different angle. Marketing skills, which are also closer to the business area. So maybe not in terms of financials, but mostly about how to acquire customers and how to complete this funnel in order to have revenue and financial parameters. So
Yeah, that goes hand in hand. Yeah.
exactly. So you take the whole funnel and starting from the top to the bottom, everything is important. But what I've seen that a few companies they've been launching, and it's even senior product managers, they're very good in building products. They're not Serbian, but they also know very well how to develop the product. But the point was like the very like dramatic point for them was that they launched. The next step is to how to scale it in terms of customer acquisition and how to achieve the profitability in your unit economics. So closer to finance, as I said, but the overall idea that using different channels, experimenting with multiple channels, trying to understand what works well, what could be improved, pivoting from one let's say positioning to another in order to deliver different messages. So all these marketing topics, they are also like a big gap, and because previously product managers haven't been doing that a lot, but now a few companies they've got this demand, so they don't want to spend less money on marketing, they want to do everything internally, and that's the new skill that product managers being lacking of. I mean, in general industry, there are many good product marketing managers, and they do extremely well parts on the intersection of the product management and product marketing management. But at the same time, the PMs, they're trying to get some basic understanding how to market their products. So, and I believe that also could be a good point where people can grow, and there is a gap. And I believe there are many other gaps in the industry. It's just something that I believe the main thing what I've seen from my experience. But again, so many people, so many opinions, and I believe there are many other gaps.
Yeah, I hope these answers can help someone to see the vector of development. So, for example, you understand that maybe I need to boost my business knowledge, or maybe I need to boost my marketing skills. I think it's
Let's spend Christmas
also
trying
can
to
be,
close
yeah.
this gap.
Oh, yeah, I think a product map gives quite good opportunity to spot your gaps and to find knowledge easily on it. So, yeah. Okay, so I think these were all questions from my side. I checked in the chat, we don't have any additional ones. Yeah, but yeah, we hope that this today's session was insightful, was full of knowledge, and yeah, in my opinion, it was very dynamic. But they shared very interesting statistics. Yeah, so that definitely makes us think. Yeah.
Anna, thank you for this open conversation. I learned something new today, and
Me too.
and it was very open conversation. I glad to hear your experience, and that was very insightful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you as well for sharing the insights from Product Map, right?
All right, so we'll share some stats and presentations with everyone who joined or registered on Luma, and yeah, thanks again for joining us today. I think we can wrap up on that.
Thank you, everybody in the audience, for sticking out until the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then thank you so much for attending the session.
Thank you. Bye bye.